Hi guys, it's Rachel, and I'm here to tell you about my adoption journey. And I already did a part one on this, and it was basically like me explaining me finding out I was pregnant and stuff like that. Anywhoosey, I hope you enjoyed this second. But I was on medications in the beginning of my pregnancy when I didn't know I was pregnant. I was on lithium and stuff like that. So they had to check my levels there, and that wasn't too good. What had happened was is my first blood test had shown that Margot had a very, very high chance of having Down syndrome. And she had the same chance of having Down syndrome as if a 40-year-old woman tried to have a child. And that was very nerve-wracking. So they scheduled an amniocentesis, which is basically you get this big needle into your belly to pull out some amniotic fluid, which is what surrounds and protects the baby and the baby feeds off of and stuff. And they take it out and check the chromosomes. Now, this is a very dangerous procedure. It does have a miscarriage rate. And normally, like, if the rate of the child having Down syndrome is higher than the rate of miscarriage by amniocentesis, they will do the procedure. With me, my rate was excessively higher than the rate of miscarriage from amniocentesis. So, I was very scared. They did say it was due to medication. So literally I was petrified. I'm afraid of needles and stuff like that, and I could only imagine how it would feel to have a big old needle going into my belly. And so I went and I was freaking out. I'm sitting in the waiting room and I go in and I'm talking to the woman, and as I'm talking to her about the procedure and what's going to happen and how it's going to go, I'm talking to her, and then she gets a fax. And it's my new blood tests. And Margot does not have a higher chance of having Down syndrome. Yay! They're like, but you have to have a fetal echocardiogram. And I'm like, okay, what is this? What it is basically is they take a sonogram of your baby, but they look at its heart to check if anything's wrong with their heart. So I was like, alright, Margot's gonna be fine, whatever. And finally they call us inside, and Margot was the most stubborn little baby I have ever met in my life. She would not open so they could see her heart. 4 hours laying there, I'm moving, I'm eating, I'm trying to, shift around so maybe she'll open. They ended up having to get a doctor in to push her legs and her arms apart in my belly so they could get a picture of her heart. Stubborn. Anywhoosie. So they finally got a picture, and they're looking at it, and they apparently don't see something right with the heart. And they're not telling me this at this point. They're just concerned looking at the screen, and obviously at this point I'm freaking out. I'm like, what the heck is wrong? So they actually pulled my mom out of the room and tried to explain to her what was going on with Margot. So they all come back in the room while I'm sitting there freaking out, obviously. Like, are you kidding? Anyway, so then they told me Margot has a leakage from her first valve, where the blood goes in to be filtered and then comes back out. So it's the first valve into the second valve. So the bad blood being pumped back in, some of it was traveling back up into her system. It wasn't too severe of a leak, so they weren't very concerned, but if it had gotten worse, they were going to have to do some surgery and stuff like that. And if it had gotten worse, it could have been more severe. So I had to go back a month later, and Margot was being way more cooperative during that one. I was only there for 2 hours fussing with her. And when they did that, her heart was completely healed, and I was like, yes! I was so scared, you have no idea. And They said just when she's born that I have to, it's going to be in the records, but I do have to make sure they know that she did have a leakage in her heart while in my stomach. So that kind of made me nervous a little. Like, you know, just because it's healed now, maybe it's not going to be then. Like, it made me very nervous. So, yeah, that was within the later months of my pregnancy. That was probably 6 to ending of the term of my pregnancy. I also kind of wanted to talk about the emotional stress during my pregnancy. It was very high. My stress level was very high. In the beginning, when I found out, so that's like from 2 months to like 5 months, I was very depressed. I didn't shower. I didn't, like I didn't really get out of my house unless I was going to the library to take out more books. And it was very depressing. All I did was really lay in my bed, eat, and read. I wasn't very active, which is not good. And go into the bathroom, obviously. So it was a very down time for me because I really didn't know what I was looking towards, what was ahead of me, and you know how much pain I would be in emotionally and stuff like that. It was very nerve-wracking, and I have very high anxiety of having responsibility of other people's lives. I mean, when I say high anxiety, I mean literally, like, I can't drive because I will literally have a panic attack at the wheel because I feel like I'm going to kill people. Now, imagine having this life growing inside of you that you're supposed to take care of and make sure that they're okay and stuff like that. So, that was a very stressful time for me. And also, another stressful thing was trying to figure out the adoption. It was nuts. So, what ended up happening is my mom suggested adoption. So we went and actually looked through a bunch of agencies. We didn't want a foster care agency. We wanted a legitimate adoption agency. So we found a couple and we went to visit. A lot of them felt very corporate almost and very, like, I don't know, they didn't feel warm and welcoming like a family should, you know? So we ended up finding one, Bethany Christian Services, and it was funny because I didn't find out until like we were later into the adoption process that that Teen Mom, Caitlin and Tyler, I want to say, I don't know, whatever, that they made their adoption through Bethany Christian Services as well, and I had a very beautiful, an amazing social worker named Natalie. She was awesome, and she helped me go through the process of picking a family. She gave us our profiles, and there was 3 out of 6 profiles that 2 out of 6 profiles that I really liked, and 3. And there was one. It was an older family with a son, and they were too old to have kids anymore, but they still wanted kids. The mother had struggled with bipolar and stuff like that, and she, you know, that probably wouldn't have been the best decision for me now, but I kind of wanted to meet them and get to know them and know why now, you know, they wanted kids so late in their life. Then there was another one, Tara and Bill. They were great people, but I just didn't, you know, I didn't feel that connection with them. So they were great people, totally awesome, and I really hope they find a kid soon. Then there was Margot's parents. Now, Kate and Rob. I love them more than, like, anything. Like, they're amazing people, and sometimes I wish they were my parents. Kidding, kidding. No, they really are amazing, and Margot has 3 other siblings, and they're totally awesome. They help so much, and, you know, it was a big struggle for me to kind of figure that out. So, yeah, so that was my pregnancy portion, and next I think I'll talk about, like, giving birth and stuff like that. But I really hope you enjoyed this video, and, the pregnancy was less of an emotional struggle. I think, you know, I kind of, you know, I made my friends and stuff like that. I also was in a relationship while pregnant with someone, and that made it a lot easier for me. He was very supportive and stuff like that. Which is about my pregnancy. Alright guys, have a great day, night, or wherever you're at, and please comment, rate, and subscribe. Bye!